Hey, welcome back to GoneWithTheWhisk. I hope you guys are having a great week. Today, I am making a dish called Shakshuka. Several years ago, I was looking for a very easy vegetarian dish that tasted good, that wasn't just like, here's a bowl of kale and, a whisper, a dressing, something actually filling. And I found this dish. It is originates from North Africa and the Middle East. It's mainly eggs poached in a tomato sauce, and it has lots of spices, some veggies, some herbs, and sometimes, depending on what region it's from, they'll add cheese or a sour cream, or there is not going to be Colby Jack cheese blend or actual sour cream, but it's, these are the equivalents of what we have here. Or at least what I have here where I'm located. Normally I use just dried herbs and just the frozen onion pepper mix. Today I am adding in a bit of fresh onion and these fresh herbs. Oh, and I forgot the garlic. I'm going to grab that from the fridge too. It got tucked behind everything. And I'm adding some pre-minced garlic. Okay. Some recipes will have you use, whole tomatoes that you kind of cut up or peel or whatever. I'm using canned diced tomatoes. It's got a few little green peppers in it. Just makes it easier. So, and the recipe I'm putting in the comments is probably going to be for like a full batch that would make dinner for, a family or a lunch. You could add this with you could have this for lunch, you could have it with a salad and some bread and have a good dinner. Like, you can do a lot with this. Sometimes even eat for breakfast. I mean, it's kind of similar to relleros rancheros and Portuguese skillet eggs. I think they're called skillet eggs. It's kind of like the Middle Eastern, Mediterranean, North African spin on a very similar dish. So, let's get started. Sure, I can hear my birds chirping in the background. Y'all have asked, I can't remember if I've answered though, but I have 2 parakeets and a little finch. I've got to get her a friend. Her buddy died a little while back. But I have them covered up with a comforter, their cages, and that normally just knocks them right out and they just settle down, go to sleep. But today they are still being chatty. But let's get everything moved over to the table and we'll get started. That there, because that's my first stop. And those. All right. So what we're going to do is turn our stove on kind of medium-high and add in just a little bit of olive oil. You can also use vegetable oil or whatever you have on hand. I happen to keep olive oil on hand all the time, so that's what I'm using today. I also have like a big gallon jug of vegetable oil, so any oil you want to use is just fine. Spread that around. And this dish, it's pretty filling. I mean, it's made with eggs, and it's got some cheese on it, tomatoes. It's very filling, and it's got some spice and flavor to it. If you don't like a lot of heat, you can definitely adjust to your taste. But it's, I like a lot of heat and spice, so I might go a little overboard sometimes. But you can definitely adjust. Okay, so we're going to let that heat up a minute. I'm cooking a bit late today because I got up early, but I just did a bit of computer work this morning, and then I ran some errands and went and got a little bit of produce, some different peppers and the fresh herbs, and of course I had to go get my Sonic drink. But now I'm back, ready to get started with you guys. Had to catch the cats and the dog and lock them out of the kitchen. A little bit of water on my hands, see. Nope, not ready yet. I think I asked this last week. What's everyone watching this week? I've gotten, I think, about halfway through with the second season of Young Sheldon. And it's turned out to be pretty funny. I love The Big Bang Theory, so I don't know why I've taken so long to start watching this one. I think originally, like, it only like the current season was streaming, so I missed like the first season. It was a whole weird thing, but now all the seasons are on like Netflix and maybe HBO or something. Okay, getting a little closer. I think it's safe to go ahead and add in this onion pepper mix. Like I said, I'm cooking a half batch. Throw that last little bit in there. But the recipe I'll give you will be for a full batch. You can always, if you're cooking one or two, scale it down just like I'm doing. I have made a good bit of this before and like ate half or whatever and saved the rest in the fridge. And it heated up pretty well. I just wouldn't leave it too long because then, you know, the egg, they can just get dry out a bit in the fridge. But if you reheat for the next day, it should be fine. Onions, peppers start cooking. Those are pretty much thawed, so let's add in a bit of the purple onion. And honestly, if you already have a mix of onions and peppers like I'm using, you don't have to add the purple onion in. I just like to do it for color and a bit of extra flavor. You can also, instead of using a frozen mix, just cut up, you know, fresh onion and fresh peppers. But I had frozen mix to use, so that's what I'm doing today. I try to make this recipe simple. Like, you can go all out with some things like this and just do every single thing fresh and raise your own chickens for the eggs and go harvest the bell peppers out of a garden, you know. But not everybody has that time. So like I've said before, I try to keep frozen veggies in my freezer. And I try to keep diced onion like this in a bowl in my fridge, just to make my life easier. because, I said before, I work 50 something hours a week and I live alone. And you do not always want to come home, work all day, come home, clean a whole house, tend to all your pets, and cook a whole meal from scratch. So I use all these easy little tricks like frozen stuff and pre-prepared onions and things to keep me from just blowing money on DoorDash or going to get fast food all the time. Alright, so the onions are getting, at least the red onions are getting a little bit translucent. A little bit, so we're just going to let that cook a minute more. And then we'll add in our garlic. We don't want to add the garlic too soon because it'll burn. Knocking everything over. Smells really great. Like 2 years ago when I got COVID the first time, I lost most of my sense of smell. So there's some things I just cannot smell, or I'll smell it like 20 minutes after everyone around me talks about the smell. It'll finally hit me. I can definitely smell this today. These onions frying, or sauteing, or whatever you want to call it. They smell pretty good. I'm going to add this garlic. Hopefully I can smell that. And I know this is not a precise measurement. Y'all know I don't do precise measurements too often, but the more the better, right? I'm actually having to stop myself from adding in more garlic. But I have to remind myself that I'm like cooking a small batch. If I make garlic bread, I'll add this whole thing to a slice. So I have to like restrain myself. Alright, the garlic starts to smell. We don't want to overcook it like this because it will burn really easy. Open up our tomatoes, get them ready. Now we're going to add in our can of diced tomatoes. Just give it all a good stir, mix it up. Alright. We are going to let this kind of cook down a bit. Add a bit of salt here. And some pepper. Some paprika. Some cumin. Some chili powder. Alright, so we'll give all that a good stir. Mix in all of these flavors. Great. Now we're going to let this cook just a minute more. Hey. Okay. Probably heard my phone ring there a second. That was my mom announcing that she just randomly showed up at my house to give me some pot holders. Oh boy. But they match. So they match these burner covers here. Alright, so now this is, turn this back on, gotta step outside. So we're going to let this cook a bit. Alright, get our eggs. Ooh, there it is. Alright. Now, normally I add a little bit of water to this, or to add a little bit of liquid to it, because as it cooks down and poaches the eggs, some of the moisture does cook out. So I either add water or I add some vegetable broth. So I'm going to add a bit of that in here, just to help keep the sauce real saucy. Real saucy. No real exact amount, you just kind of have to eyeball it, and you may have to add more, just depending on how much moisture is evaporating, how high your stove is set, and you know how big of a batch you're making. But this is going to cook down to basically the consistency of like a marinara almost. And this recipe can be a bit messy. I mean, you can kind of see that I've got tomatoes splattered everywhere just about. So, don't wear your nice white clothes while you cook this one. But I'm going to take my eggs and crack them one at a time onto 3 separate areas. And typically when you make this, you want to have 1 or 2, maybe 3 eggs per person, depending on, you know, how much you're making. I mean, how many people you have, and how hungry everybody really is, or what you're serving with this. Typically, I'll make this in a batch that has 3 eggs, and then I'll eat 2, and then save like the rest of the third for another meal. we just let the yolks cook. The whites are still clear. So we grab a lid for your skillet. That's the wrong cabinet. You might not want to cover it quite all the way because you want some of that steam to escape. However, covering it will poach the eggs a little bit faster. And at this point, you just cook until the eggs reach the doneness that you prefer. I like mine to be a bit over hard, or just maybe like almost over hard. You might like yours runny, just whichever way you prefer. Wipe some of this up. Even though I know it's about to splash right back out in a minute, I'm sure. Kind of hard to see through the lid, it's got all the condensation on it, but you can see the white starting to turn white. Let's give it a look. Yep, we've got 3 eggs and 3 whites. Just kind of scrape those edges there. One downside of this is that as it's cooking, some of the tomato on the bottom does tend to stick to your pan, so you do lose a little bit of your sauce. And I normally have to like soak my skillet before I wash it. So you may think you're making too much sauce. Odds are you might lose a little bit to your pan, so just keep that in mind. Now we just wait. I love testing out food from like different regions, different cultures. Normally they're real easy to make, don't use a whole lot of ingredients, and are very tasty. Okay, so let's see how it's doing. Stir up some of these tomatoes a bit. Liquid. Hopefully I add enough broth. It doesn't seem to be sticking too bad, so that's pretty good. I don't want to mess up my eggs too much and bust the yolks. Let's just cover that back up, let it keep cooking. Get our herbs ready here. And our cheese. I am going to go ahead and add in. I probably should have done this before I added the eggs. I just didn't think about it. So let's go ahead and kind of rip up some of this cilantro and the parsley. I'm just going to kind of lightly mix it in so that the tomato sauce does have these flavors in it. Okay. And the same with the parsley. Okay, so I'm gonna... Ooh, I smell that cilantro cooking. Yep, starting to stick a little bit. So, time that pretty perfect. I'm actually going to add in a little bit more broth. It's all drying out just a bit more than I would like. Spread that around. Add some over here. There we go. Just add a touch more here. I know it wouldn't dry out so fast if I put the lid back on, which is what I'm about to do. Okay. Alright, so let's give this just a minute more to cook. To absorb those flavors from the herbs. And then, oh gosh, can you hear the dog barking? The cats are probably sitting like on a table in front of him and he can't get to them and he wants them to play. Give just a minute. Windsor! And it actually worked. Okay. I'm going to poke this one right here. It's not, it's still kind of runny. So I'm just going to let that settle a little longer. Like I said, I like mine to be like over hard, but cook it to the level you like. A lot of people will cook it this far and stop. That is up to you. I bought these herbs today, this parsley and cilantro. I am going to put them in a little cup of water in the window and see how long I can keep them alive for. Because you don't, y'all are new to me, y'all don't know. Every year, just about, I go to the garden center at Lowe's or Home Depot or Walmart and I bring home a bunch of little plants, and I think this is the year that I'm going to have my vegetable garden, my petunias and whatever else, I think I'm going to keep alive. And then slowly, one by one, they all die a horrible, slow, painful, agonizing death. I should be banned from all garden centers everywhere. Even last year, a neighbor posted in the community group that they had dug up like hundreds, maybe thousands of elephant ears, and they were all like laying on the sidewalk on the side of the road, and like they said they were free to anybody who wanted them. So I went and got like a few dozen, and I put them in pots on my porch, and they got pretty big until actually I didn't do anything with them at all, and they survived until it froze here back in February. And then I didn't even think to bring them in, and I did those. They died, so I'm hoping they grow back. I've been told they probably will, but we'll see. But if they do, that'll be like the one plant I've kept alive. So I mean, I've tried this before with other herbs and stuff, and it didn't really work. So we'll see. Let's poke that one. Oh, that looks done. Okay. So, what we're going to do now is keep this from drying out. Let's set that down. Pour a little bit more broth in, just to, and like I said, you can use water. You could even use chicken broth or beef broth if you wanted. Just add a different flavor. It's totally up to you. I'm going to take this Colby Jack cheese. It's not authentic Middle Eastern flavor. Some regions we add cheese, some don't. I'm not even sure what kind of cheese. 80 paneer. Probably be more authentic if you have access to that. You have an Indian grocer, which I do. I don't know why I don't shop there more. I'm going to add the cheese in here. And then I'm going to grab a bit more of my herbs and kind of just rip up on top for garnish. If you have herb scissors, you can use those. I could honestly be using regular kitchen scissors, but I just didn't grab them. So I'm going to put this lid back on here a minute. Let that cheese melt. Toss these herb bundles back in the fridge for now. I saw my neighbor walking around and glanced in my window like, who is he talking to? I could have people over. I could have friends. I mean, I don't have anybody over, but I could. He don't know me. He don't know my life. Alright, so now our cheese is all melty. So now I'm going to take it off the heat and actually set it right here. I'm going to take this lid and put it over near the sink. I don't want to put the water yet because it's really hot. And even though it's made for hot chimps, I don't want to risk that glass shattering. If it gets wet, I mean, look at that. So yeah, I like to add a little bit of cheese to mine. Not everyone adds cheese to their shakshuka. It just really depends on the region. Look, you got all that tomato sauce that we made. Our poached eggs, which are full of protein. Our herbs, cilantro and parsley. Add some flavor, add some color. Cheese. cheesy goodness on top. So now, oh, fly buzzing around the kitchen. Okay. Oh no, I didn't get out any bread. Huh. Normally, I have a little bit of bread to go with this to soak up some of the juice. But I had a loaf of bread, like bakery bread, that I stuck in the freezer, and I did not pull out in time. So, oh, wait a minute. I also keep these little rolls from like the Walmart bakery section in my freezer. So I'm going to pop this in my air fryer just a minute. Forgot I had a couple left. Having to play musical power chords over here. I got 3 things that need 1 outlet. Okay. So now I'm just going to pop this in here for normally like 5 minutes is good. And let's see. Grab a plate while I am over here. Here, while I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and put cover back on here, keep that heat in there, stay warm. Put that back on with the pan's cool enough to not burn it. That still needs a minute though. Alright. Let me see. Couple minutes left, so let's go ahead and start plating up some of this delicious shakshuka. Okay, got our egg, got our tomatoes, cheese. Let's get some more. Our veggies on there. Set over here, wipe up the edge of my plate, wipe this up too. Yeah, like I said, this could be a little bit messy. It's got a lot of tomatoes that like to splatter when you cook, but it does taste very good. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and try this a little bit. Oh. I'll twirl that cheese back on there and the whole thing fell off. Okay, so got some eggs, some of the tomatoes. That is really good. I mean, it's spicy without being like hot. It's just full of spice and flavor. Maybe flavorful is a better word than spicy. As you get all that cumin and the paprika and the chili, and then the cilantro and parsley and the onions. Like, it's all these flavors are in here and they work so good together. Try another bite. That is so good. Okay. Toast it up a nice little roll. Alright, look at that. You have your veggies, you have your egg, you have some bread. You can even have a nice little side salad with this, and that makes a very filling meal. And you rip your bread apart, dip it in your tomato sauce, and soak up all the juices. It's just very good. Okay, it's very simple. You do not have to use fresh diced onion. I already had that from another recipe in my fridge. You do not have to use the fresh herbs. You can use dried. That's super simple. If you basically just do, I use the bag of onion and pepper blend. I've also used like 2 cans of Rotel tomatoes instead of the diced tomatoes, and instead of all the onions and peppers. Just start off with some spicy or whatever mildness you like Rotel, and add in my seasonings to that, and the dried herbs, and the eggs and cheese, or no cheese, and it works just as good. This is closer to authentic Middle Eastern, but you can do this so many different ways, and you can add other things to it. I've seen people adding in like cooked chicken or sausage slices or something. That's not authentic Middle Eastern, but you can do whatever you want. It's pretty versatile. But I'm gonna take some of this bread and get some of this tomato in here. Just soak up some of that. Very good. So yeah, if you like eggs, if you like huevos rancheros or similar dishes, you'll probably like this, especially if you like anything with some Middle Eastern or North African flair to it. Or if you've never tried Middle Eastern or North African foods, this is a good way to test it out, because it's not a lot of crazy ingredients or spices. It's chili powder, paprika, and cumin. So that's probably already have that at home, and if you don't, the Walmart brand bottles are like $1 something, so it's not crazy expensive to test out. Hey, and I forgot to say, garnish it with like a dollop of not whipped cream, sour cream. 2 very different things. You can kind of cut some of the heat and just add a nice coolness to it. Also, for bread, I'd recommend using like naan or a pita bread if you have those available to you. And if not, the dinner rolls like I used, or even slice a loaf of like French bread or Italian bread or something. Any of that'll work. But if you want for more authentic, I would suggest naan or pita bread. Those 2 aren't exactly Middle Eastern, because naan is Indian and pita bread's more Greek, but that's pretty much readily available in most areas, so that's closer to what you would find in those regions. But But yeah, that's it. I just forgot to say those two things. And I forgot to add this on mine. And I ate mine, and now I'm kind of mad that I forgot to throw it on there. But thank you guys so much for watching. So glad you're here with me today. Let me know if you make this dish and what you and your family or whoever you make it for thinks about it. As always, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. My channel is very, very close to being able to make money off of this. I've got the number of subscribers, because my videos have to be watched for a certain number of hours over the last 365 days. So as of the day that I'm filming this, I am just barely over halfway to my goal. You have to be able to watch like for 4,000 hours within 365 days, so I'm at 2,000 and almost 2,200 hours. So I've gotten like 2,000 hours within like 2 weeks, so I'm pretty excited about that. So hopefully I can get monetized soon and be able to make a bit of money off this channel and be able to buy, more, I don't want to say more elaborate ingredients to make more elaborate meals, because kind of, but also I do want to keep this, simple recipes that anybody can make. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy, some crazy ingredient that's cost, $20 you're only ever going to use like a quarter teaspoon of. I don't do that for myself. I'm not doing it with you guys. But just buy more ingredients, have more variety. Because typically I am going to the grocery store and I'm seeing, okay, how many different meals can I make with this, smaller set of ingredients? And while that's, cheaper and economical for me, and maybe for you guys if you try to reuse the same things for different meals, it can kind of get tiring watching and seeing me do it's the same 5 ingredients from the last 3 videos. So hopefully I can be able to get more variety of stuff. So yeah, keep watching my videos. If you're watching all the way through, that just helps me out get those hours in. And like I said, just like, share, subscribe. If you have friends who like to cook or bake, tell them about my channel. Would love to have them join us. And be sure to leave a comment. Let me know what you think of this, if you're going to try it. And if you do try it, tell me what you thought. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.